This week, US Vice President JD Vance has spread misinformation about laws made in this Scottish Parliament. His claims about my colleague Gillian Mackay's Safe Access Zones Act are grossly misleading. Emboldened by Mr Vance's comments, anti-choice groups have already started to target patients outside the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Glasgow, with more actions planned in coming weeks. Last summer, members of this Parliament agreed overwhelmingly that everyone should be able to access abortion services free from harassment. What is the First Minister doing to correct false claims and provide clarity to the public on what buffer zones mean for them? And how will he protect safe access to healthcare in Scotland?
First Minister.
Presiding Officer, I recognise the seriousness of the points that Lorna Slater puts to me, and let me just say that on the issues in relation to protests yesterday, these are obviously live issues in the criminal justice system, so I will not comment on those particular issues for the same reasons that I said to Russell Finlay earlier on. Now, obviously, the remarks made by the Vice President of the United States last week about the Safe Access Zones legislation in Scotland were untrue. They were incorrect. And I'm grateful to Lorna Slater for providing the opportunity for me to say that to Parliament openly and to clarify that position. There is the idea that private prayer in an individual's home is in any way contradicted or constrained by this legislation is just not correct. In relation to Lorna Slater's point to me about what is the government doing on these issues, ahead of the Act coming into force, we published clear guidance on both NHS Inform and the Scottish Government website, and we issued letters to householders who were affected by the zones about what the Act meant for their localities. And I would urge anyone with questions to read the online guidance that's available.
Yeah. Thank you. Question. Lorna Slater.
The White House manufactures mistruths, tech billionaires profit from them, and bad faith actors spread them. Disinformation is playing an increasingly dangerous role in our communities and in our global politics. Promoting lies and misinformation at home and abroad can have serious consequences for all our communities. Friendly countries do not tell lies about each other. Does the First Minister agree that political leaders everywhere must stand up to disinformation? And will he ask Keir Starmer to demand an urgent apology from the White House when the Prime Minister meets Trump next week?
First Minister.
Presiding Officer, obviously I think the Prime Minister is well able to engage in dialogue with the President of the United States, and I will obviously I very much welcome the engagement of the Prime Minister in the European dialogue that took place earlier on this week on the situation in Ukraine, which I think was a very welcome step. Yeah. And I welcome what the Prime Minister said last night on the Ukrainian situation into the bargain. In the general point that Lorna Slater makes to me, I think that we are living in an era where disinformation is regularly circulated in our political discourse. Yeah. I think it is harming our political discourse. I think we have plenty of evidence of it in this Parliament, and I certainly want to be one of those individuals who stands up for the clarity of information, who speaks truth to Parliament and expresses in detail. Yes, Jackie Bailey, seriously, speaking truth to Parliament, that's what I'm about. The Labour Party might want to deceive. Well,
members, let's hear the First Minister.
Well, for some reason, on an issue where we are tackling disinformation in our society, Jackie Bailey believes that she should question the integrity of the First Minister speaking truth to Parliament, which I do at all times. And Jackie Bailey and no other member can come to this Parliament and say otherwise, and it's a disgrace that such behaviour takes place in this Parliament.